Same guy, Harold Faltermeyer.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Real show starting.
All out of bubblegum.
Live exclusively for WCPT in Chicago, standing up and speaking out, here's Hal Sparks.
Good morning and how are you? And welcome and happy Saturday and all the things, and time has just seemed to blaze on as we go into the what would seem like it always seems like the home stretch, but it isn't. You know, we are 90 days to the election and 60 days to the election. Now we're at 52 or 51 days to the election or something along those lines. I keep losing track, and every time we turn around, there is another giant story, not the least of which this week, of course, was the breakout audio from Bob Woodward's upcoming book, Rage, which I believe he took from the Stephen King short story of the same name that has caused so much trouble all these years. If you'll recall, that was a very there's a problematic story when we were in high school, and it got increasingly so for over the decades. That said,
I didn't
Bob
read that
Woodward's
one until way later.
Yeah, well, because of what was going on, you know, as it were. So, in case you've been living under a rock, or you just sleep there now just because it's safer, the revelations are from his forthcoming book, and they include not only the fact that Trump knew that COVID-19 was far more deadly than the seasonal flu. He was aware that it killed 5% of the people who got it versus less than 1% of people who get the flu. And he knew that it was airborne. He knew that it was spread through the air, meaning that masks would help. Just wearing a mask would lower the infection rate. He knew this in February. And he continued to golf and have rallies and the like and downplay the need for masks for months until, curiously enough, the cases started to rise across the Bible Belt below what Robin Williams, rest his soul, would call the Manson-Nixon line. The deaths started to raise in areas where he was counting on voters showing up. And all of a sudden, he comes out wearing a mask. And then when his own followers turn on him for this behavior, he goes, I think, let's see if I actually have the quote. When they asked him about masks, he said,
"If you feel it, do them.
If you feel it, do them." Which is...
Come on.
Yeah. Well, he also...
Nobody talks like this.
No. And he also, by the way, in the same speech,
if you feel it, do them.
If you feel it, do them. And he was holding it. And that's also the speech where he referred to computers as a
Computer board.
So a computer board. Yeah. And that was a week after.
When they gaze upon Yosemite.
And he still hasn't cleaned that one up. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you didn't hear that one?
No. Can I hear that one more time?
When they gaze upon Yosemite.
Yosemite?
Yes. Yo, Semites. Yeah. So to all my Semites out there and my Seminites.
And my Yoseminites.
Yoseminites. So yeah, there's been...
You might need to mute me. I'm so sorry.
It's completely understandable. We had this is the week he also said he was trying to say Motown and Mustang and ended up saying Motang. So
no, you can't let him loose in Detroit.
No, he didn't. In his defense, he was outside Detroit when he said that. He was in Michigan, but I think he thinks, you know, he's got these weird concepts of what a map is, like Washington, D.C., New York, and other places. That's his map, you know? Mm-hmm. And in Michigan, it's like map, the mitten is like Detroit and other places. He doesn't know quite where anyone is unless it's in the teleprompter.
Man.
It's so funny. Yeah, it's a solid one. I mean, that one's going to be with us. That's
But you
nearly.
don't have a recording of Motang?
Oh, we do. We have it somewhere. I was going to look it up, but I didn't want to slow down my computer anymore than it was already. And that's all right. And those of you that are just joining us at twitch.tv/HalSparks, welcome and hi, or on the Facebook page, or on Periscope, or anywhere else you gather your intel on life. So in any other normal week, the news cycle would be eaten up by the fact that the president, whomever it was, said Motang instead of Motown and Mustang. And it would have been a cute little joke and a gaffe, and that would be that if we didn't have a criminal lunatic running everything. And in the case of the Bob Woodward book coming out, and Johnny, I'm sure you've heard that section where he, at least, right? You've heard the piece, oh yes, we need a songify. He also said, I can't run around screaming death, death. These are his alternatives. That when he was confronted, he said, I want to project confidence and calm people.
Okay.
That was why he lied nonstop about this. This is why he lied, was because he wanted to project confidence and calmness. Now, it's first of all, you're not confident if you can't tell the truth. I mean, that is the essence of confidence.
Yeah.
Is the ability to, and the essence, as I've said, of leadership is being able to give people bad news and have them absorb it and remain functional. That's it. I mean, if you have any kind of tribal situation, or you're on The Walking Dead and there's zombies clawing outside the windows, somebody there has to go, all right, there's 95 zombies outside. The windows are very weak. We've got 2 shotgun shells, and the basement is the last resort. Here's the plan. Somebody start boarding up windows as quietly as you possibly can. We'll hammer them in the morning when they seem to be less active. James, you go over and make sure nobody runs down and hides in the basement and keeps it. Sandra, run upstairs and see if you can see past the zombies. Is there a truck we can get the keys to, drive out, and blow ourselves
Putting
up?
a lot of faith into James and Sandra is all I'm saying.
They were good people. How was I supposed to know that they were?
You speak of them in past tense now.
Oh yeah, well they got eaten. What do you want? You know what I mean? I had to. They asked to be. They didn't want to live in that circumstance. But the point I'm trying to make is, and yes, we can do call-ins this week. 773-763-9278 is our number. There, we were looking at the story of Trump in, I guess, like, was it 4 days ago, 5 days ago? I'm losing track at this point. The story coming out about him saying that our soldiers are suckers and losers, asking John Kelly at the gravesite of his son, what was in it for them, all that kind of stuff. There was, you're like, well, how in the world do you wipe that story off the front page? What could ever do that? What could be the thing that does that? Because there's nothing really more extraordinary than that in some ways. I mean, that is just horrifying and despicable and sad and dumb and ugly and embarrassing and shows such disdain for your fellow human beings, much less your fellow Americans, and especially because he got out of going into military service because he had
the lamest possible way.
Right. Yeah, because he had bone spurs. Right. So overall, I'm
pretty sure I had bone spurs, and I ran 22 miles last week.
That's true. But hold on, let's see if I can play this. It might actually play.
Motang? I'm all excited now.
Here. Hold on.
Okay.
Here it is.
Oh. Nothing.
Oh, I see. All right, I gotta put it in my sound thing for you to get it.
Okay.
This is pretty sweet. So this is yesterday in Detroit.
Michigan gave us Motang. Gave us Motown, gave us the Mustang. Michigan gave us Motang. Gave us Motown, gave us the Mustang.
Gave us the Mustang. Oh my God. I know.
Michigan gave us Motang.
Michigan gave us Motang.
So,
Like if you were a person,
Yosemites.
right.
wouldn't you just pause and go, Motang?
Motang, what is wrong with me? What did I say?
Yeah, what's wrong with me? I'm trying to combine Motown and Mustang.
You're right.
What am I
I'm
doing?
getting ahead of myself.
You'd be a human about it.
Yes, but yeah, everybody in the chat room is like part of the Motang gang right now. We're in the Motang gang.
Yosemanites.
Yeah, that one's.
Yosemites.
That's almost as bad as when he called Karen Pence carrot.
We're honored to have with us today our amazing Vice President, Mike Pence, and his wonderful wife, Carrot. Michigan gave us Motang.
All right, so anyways, we got to stay on topic, Johnny. This is serious.
Yosemites.
It's settle down.
Michigan gave us Motang. Gave us Motown, gave us the Mustang. Yosemites.
Stop it.
And there are just so many more. That's what, like.
Oh, I mean, and
If you get it in order, you get extra points. Soup for my family.
For his dementia test.
yes, which, by the way, Biden bounced him on yesterday quite soundly. His interview with Jake Tapper was incredibly solid and really good, and has led to, and that's another story for today, led to the Trump squad now coming out that they believe that Biden is on performance-enhancing drugs that allow him to be sharp right now, and they're going to insist on a drug test, which no one's going to take. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Why would you, and by the way, Trump himself would fail.
Oh, he feels so bad.
Yeah. And so but the idea is that after he loses the debate, like he was on something, he's got like the limitless drug or something. I don't know what's going on. Probably adrenochrome, QAnon. Right. So anyways, in all seriousness.
Michigan gave us Motang.
I'm sorry. So the Bob Woodward stuff is incredibly... Oh, we got to take a break. The Bob Woodward stuff is incredibly serious, but there are several in there that go beyond even the COVID ones that you've heard, including him divulging a secret weapons system because he can't not brag.
Single-handedly started another arms race.
Yeah, just by now they know they have to ratchet it up because they know we have something bigger, and he said it. So, that's the amazing part. So, anyways, we got to take a break.
I've talked to people about it. I'll be like, "Did you know? I didn't know."
Right? Why would you? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the House Sparks Radio program, mega worldwide on WCPT Radio, Chicago's Progressive Talk on WCPT 820. We'll be back right after this.
You were looking right at me.
Yeah. How you doing? I've got sunshine on a cloudy day. No, because the new space I'm in my office, like it has curtains here, but there's not enough they're not bright. They don't stop the light. So over the course of the show, like the light will normalize or whatever, but it's completely over. Like I'm very much brighter than my normal show. It's very peculiar.
Like it.
Yeah, it's all right. And why is the tip jar way up there? It's so odd. Move down here, you silly thing. I had to rebuild a page just for me and Johnny. Me and Johnny, we're gonna play tonight. We're gonna be all right. We're gonna shine.
Rick Springfield, baby.
Mm-hmm. I have Rick Springfield hair, so I think it's kind of appropriate.
Oh, I guess so, yeah.
Jesse is a friend.
Come back in 60, guys.
Thank you, Devin.
Thanks. Sorry.
You're welcome, and you got 2 callers. Continue singing. I love it.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I know.
Lately something's changed, it ain't hard to define. Jesse's got himself a girl and I wanna make her mine. And by the way, that song is so hard to sing and play because of the
Oh God.
like it's
Yeah,
weird.
we couldn't. When the Millions did it, the person singing could not play that
Play
part.
guitar,
So I played
no.
the gang, 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 and even just the he's watching him with those eyes and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's watching him with
Impossible.
those eyes, and she's loving him with that body. I just know it.
Just know it. It's spectacular delivery.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing. Dude's an amazing musician and a fantastic guitar
Yes.
player, and a really sweet guy. And he's Australian to boot, so you know he's good people.
This is Doris Davenport, host of The Doris Davenport Show, all local, all the time. Now let's get back to Hal Sparks' radio program, Mega Worldwide.
So, the revelations that have come out from Bob Woodward's book, and there's a back and forth about whether or not Bob Woodward should have come out with this stuff earlier. Why didn't he dump this stuff? Well, I would argue that the Trump war room and his sycophants have been very good at, they failed miserably, at stopping a couple of books here and there. But overall, if you look at what happened to Vindman and other people, they have been, it would have scuttled Woodward's other corroborating interviews had he heard what the president said and then ran straight out. Are you frozen? Or are you just reading? I can't tell. We may have lost Johnny for a split second there. I don't know. It's a blurb. So I am of the argument that since he is an investigative reporter and since that is an incredibly crucial part of investigation is getting your quotes and then corroborating them, it would be a great idea. I love you, Johnny. I'm going to switch to a main shot. And then until we bring him back, oh, it's double me. What more could you want, really, in life? Johnny will be back with us in 1 second. He'll join on the other side of whatever when he hops back in. So I would argue that Woodward's job is not one of directly informing the public the minute he has an interview piece. I would say that he has to. He has a responsibility to corroborate his stories, get it all together, put it in a cohesive form before releasing it. That's, and so not releasing it earlier when the Trump White House would have shot it down entirely and quite frankly had a better shot at the White House because they, this story had landed long ago and they had pushed back against it. I think it was a strategic choice and it made more sense. In reality, so there are multiple stories coming out of this, and the one that's obviously getting the most attention is, of course, the issue of him knowing that it was contagious, knowing the COVID was contagious, knowing that masks would help, downplaying and denying it for months. As the death toll rose over and over, still pushing back, still not being convinced, and now essentially switching to a herd immunity strategy. This is now the mentality. They are looking at the Swedish model and going, look, they lost a bunch of people, but they seem to have plateaued. If we can hold that plateau and we're really only killing people that would have died anyways, which is what they think, that's clearly the messaging coming out of the White House right now. Then we'll bring the economy back a lot faster, and that's the key to my reelection. That is absolutely the strategy. With no genuine knowledge that only people, with comorbidities need fear it, and or a legitimate list of those comorbidities themselves. So many of these cases where people have died of COVID who have had a comorbidity, the vast majority of them have to do with heart disease, lung issues, emphysema, history of pneumonia, those kind of things, compromised immune systems and the like. But the folks that, the anomalies, the folks that we don't know why, or the people that don't know that they have a comorbidity, and one of those comorbidities being obesity. And the obesity numbers in the United States, and quite frankly, among Trump's followers, should be a point of concern for anybody who A, cares about human life, and B, worries about their reelection chances when they may be putting their entire base in danger. So it boggles the mind why he wouldn't have just gone, and Biden said this yesterday, like, why? Just say it's out of an abundance of caution. You don't have to freak people out. You can calm them by saying this. But, I mean, let's see. By the way, I'm waiting to see if Johnny jumps back in with us. I think I may have laughed him off the show, or his internet took a break. But regardless, let's actually take a call since we're waiting for him to come back. Eric in our chat room says Trump doesn't care about his own supporters. Clearly true. Mississippi is shot as it is the most obese state, and there are no health directives for this. Right. Yeah, and of course, the story comes out that this week, a breaking story, that he has cut he's taken funds from the 9/11 firefighters fund, $4 million of it, which seems like a petty act. As we're dumping $6.8 trillion on our economy to get it started, to go out of your way, to do that seems bizarre. Anyways, let's take a call. Who do we have, Devin?
First, we got Rhonda out in Morton Grove.
Excellent. Hey, Rhonda, welcome.
Hi. A couple of things. What I originally called about has to do with his attitude towards the military.
Right.
And I posit, and you're smarter than I am about something, so I want your opinion on this. Mm-hmm. If that is because his father shoved him, because he was misbehaving, into the military school, and he then thinks that that's why the military is there, because they're losers, because his father said so. That is a fascinating take on it, and one I had not specifically considered, especially since he wore his bowling medal everywhere as if it was something to be proud of. He certainly had an attitude about it that it was something that poor people do, because there were all those reports that Don Jr. was thinking about entering the military, and Tiffany as well, I thought.
That I don't know, but I do know that there were multiple reports about Don, and ultimately, what does that lead to? That him dressing his son down and allegedly saying, if you join, you're disowned. Now, coming away from the Michael Cohen book, and I haven't gotten to the part where he may address that in the book, because I think he was around for part of it, or at least has heard the story. But within the first chapter, Trump craps all over Don Jr. in front of Michael Cohen, who he's just met, and a bunch of other people who work in the company, just talking about him in such despicable ways, considering it's his own son. That must be a translation of how his father spoke about him and Fred and Robert. But again, I don't psychoanalyze people's morality out of existence. You can be treated there's lots of people who get treated like crap by their parents and still turn out to be decent people, in spite of it. But there is something about it's poverty. It's something that poor people do. Joining the military is something that poor people do in Trump's world. We talked about this, why he gets excited about these Cohen cases that he won, where he was clearly in the wrong. There were a bunch of these stories where he's obviously legally on the wrong side of an issue or on the wrong side of a case, and he wins. He enjoys that more than if he was right. Because if you win a case or you succeed because you're rich or or the law is on your side or you were correct, so what? Anybody can do that. He takes pride in getting away with crime. He always has. That shows that not only are you, do you have the resources, which means you're successful, but also you're clever. You beat the system itself. You were successful even though you didn't deserve to be. To him, that has more value. So to some degree, there is nothing that points him in the direction of legal behavior, of genuine legal behavior, because where's the upside in that? Anybody can win if they behave. But can you get away with stuff? That might be the root too of some of his relationship with his dad and all that stuff. Oh, look, Johnny Million is joining us again. So I love that perspective. The idea that Johnny Million, hold on, Johnny Million, are you with us? There you go. Hey, there he is. So the idea that it's, he hates it because he was sent to this military academy. A lot of those kids get to play soldier, and it's a lot of dress uniforms, more so than it's grunt work at that school, at least when he was there, insofar as what he had to go through. There wasn't a lot of crawling through the with a bayonet on a rifle, So, I think he thinks that made him a hero. And the fact that he never had to see battle, that he got to go to, he got medals without ever having to go to war, like these other losers. You know what I mean? That could be as much of it as possible. Yes. Yeah. It's either way. It's clear that he looks down on anyone who provides service, and he will now. Lately, lately he's been doing this thing where when people are criticizing him, he goes, "It's not me. You're criticizing Pence. You're criticizing the task force and the staff, and because all these people are working really hard." So he hides behind credit that he's giving them and doesn't recognize that it's effectively blame, So he has a total disregard for people who actually work. There's no question there. That is,
no two ways about that.
Yeah. And so, go ahead.
I said there were two other things that went along with this, listening as I was waiting to get on. In reference to, to what you said about Woodward, I don't think he could have come out with it, but he might have passed along some kind of whisper to someone who might have been able to press on it.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree he could have. My only issue is that we know how this White House works, and if he had not gotten the quotes he got from Mattis and others while he was in there and the other staff on the record, it would have been dismissed as, and Trump would have gotten away with that quote.
But I'm thinking in terms of maybe passing it along to somebody not out in the open, but maybe someone who could have dug into it on their own and said, hey, maybe you should do something. Which brings me to my final point.
Sure.
If he had actually, back when all of this happened in the beginning of the year, if he had actually taken the information he had and done what he should have done and acted as he should have done, he would have been a hero and he would have been a shoo-in.
Right. I totally agree. I said that earlier this year. If he'd have just been
that goes back, I think, to what you just said about winning the wrong way.
Yeah. Anybody can win re-election by being a decent, good person and being the right choice. His idea is like, how much can I screw the country and still get elected? That's the part that's exciting to him. Absolutely. We got to take a break. We rode straight through that, but I appreciated the call and I wanted you to get your final point in. We'll be back right after this. It's the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide on WCPT Radio, Chicago's Progressive Talk, 773-763-9270. Next Sexy Liberal show is coming up September 26th. Virtual Sexy Liberal show. Go to sexyliberal.com for tickets. There you are. You're darker than you were before. You're not as well lit. Your camera is darker. you look like you're sending a message from the other side.
And my head gets really narrow with this.
Yeah, it does that. It cuts off the sides of stuff because it's trying to, ears disappear. It's not the best moving, mat, but I've seen worse.
Let me see if I can lighten this up.
No problem. I wanted to look up.
Oh, yeah, there's a
Back in 60,
little
guys.
thing in here. Thank you.
Thanks.
Auto adjust for low light. There it is. A little better.
Hey. Yeah.
You can see me.
Yay. And I think we were choppy before, but I think we're all right now. Yeah. Okay. It's better.
I think my internet was slowly dying from the moment I connected.
It's entirely possible.
Don't you hate it when you look down at your modem or over at your modem and you just see the blue lights flashing? That is
you're
supposed
like,
to be solid.
no. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so much I got to talk about this Law and Order thing that he's been trying to push for a while. Too.
Now let's get back with Hal Sparks' radio program, Mega Worldwide.
The wonderful voice of Lady B. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is so there's been a few campaign angles that the Trump administration has been going through over the last year since the ratchet up. The initial idea was we'll help Bernie or Elizabeth Warren win the primary by shenanigans. We'll boost their chances because they're who we really want to run against, capitalism against socialism. We think that's a strong enough divide and people aren't comfortable with that term. So that's a good hill to fight on for us. It gives us a good angle on the battlefield. And then as the primary moved, and the idea was that they'll just run on the economy. He'll just say we made the best economy ever. Now, never mind the fact that the recession started in February. All signs point to that our recession started in February and ended the longest stretch of uninterrupted growth in American history, I think, or at least since 1854. And so, a recession like that, without a major shutdown in COVID and all those kind of things, if you're staring down the barrel of that, you think you could probably massage it. You can go, the Democrats won't do what I need them to do and they're hurting the economy. You need me to get it back to where it was. This recession part is stuff that since the midterms, they've been monkeying around with my numbers and they're ruining everything. You can run on that. It's a structure. It may be a lie, but you can do it. Right? It's not out of the realm of possibility. It's not even out of the realm of ease of message. It's pretty. And you can go, hey, you may not like me, but I'm the pit bull. You need to bite the bad people. And that's the other. Those are the two tracks that they were going to run on. And then Biden won the primary basically without spending a dime, completely on character and record, which is amazing. All the clamoring about we need to get money out of politics, and the dude who spent the least won through a combination of being who he is, being a known entity, and being and having a strategy. Not the least of which, in my opinion, was the idea that Kamala Harris as a ticket with him was something that I was even talking about this time last year. A lot of people were. And so her dropping out, even if she'd have gotten way closer, her numbers might have pointed that she had a glass ceiling on what she was fighting against, but she could sure become vice president. So if she drops out now, that we can start that rumor mill and line her up with the president, with the vice president for the run, and then slowly but surely anybody who didn't have a genuine shot, basically at Bernie Sanders' 35% ceiling in which he has in the Democratic Party. It's there, but it's a ceiling. It stops at 35%. Everyone else in the field, including Elizabeth Warren, could have eventually won over the whole 70% that wasn't full on in there. Bernie's numbers did not point in that direction, and everybody kind of knew that. And the Trump campaign was counting on that, and they wanted to run this economic philosophy thing based on the idea that people, even if we entered a recession, the effects of the recession itself wouldn't be felt by the average household because it was a run-of-the-mill recession until maybe Christmas, right? That's when the layoffs would happen, and you'd hear a bunch of stories about businesses laying people off, but he'd already be reelected at that point, so who cares? Mm-hmm. He honestly wouldn't. Then the next term is all about just pilfering the United States and setting up Trump Tower Pyongyang. So the idea was that's what we're going to run on. And you can disagree with me about the validity of the strategy, but that's what they were doing. Whether it would have won or not is immaterial. That was their strategy. That was their plan. And you can tell because they're still running it. They are running against Biden as if Biden-Harris as if they are the Sanders-Warren ticket. That's how they're wording when he talks about. That's why he's like, he doesn't even. It's the crazy left. People in the shadows are telling him what to do, and the like. Or, never mind the fact that his vision is, while it may end up being the most progressive in history, which is kind of extraordinary, his approach to doing it is that of a steady, moderate voice who will accomplish it instead of just writing executive orders, craft bills that become law, that remain, and you tweak afterwards. You don't have to fight the fight over again every presidency. See Don't Ask, Don't Tell versus DACA, for example. Right. The only reason the Biden, the Obama-Biden administration was, did what they did on DACA was because they were running out of time. And the Republicans were running a wall against it. They ironically enough, I suppose, or poetically enough. So Biden wins without spending any money. He really does. I mean, it's kind of hilarious how little money he spent in these states. But again, what are you spending that money on? Advertising, awareness, letting people know who you are, what you're about, what your message is, what your strategic approach would be. Well, Biden already had that. He didn't need to spend that extra money. And as a matter of fact, the more people spent trying to create their image and the less he spent, the more people, it cemented his image and made theirs look like they were just trying to carve off a slice of it or fight for their, fight it a little too hard. Milady doth protest too much kind of money. And so ultimately he wins. And okay, so they can't run on him being a radical, socialist in that regard, even though he wants to shore up Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. He wants a single payer system that people can opt into, that everybody below, over whatever 120% above the poverty line can enter into, basically ACA plus. He's for shoring up funds for fighting fires, FEMA, dealing with hurricanes, climate change, nationwide broadband, which is in and of itself, would be fought by Republicans nonstop, but would benefit the red states and quote unquote the flyover states more than any other group of people. Yep. If you broadband and bring, full fiber or 5G internet to the Midwest, you can be a day trader operating on the millisecond in the middle of Iowa instead of having to be in New York on the exchange in the same building. And that opens up the economy of the United States to everyone. Hence the Made in America by all of America approach that the Biden campaign has been talking about lately. So they're going to run, the idea that they're going to run Biden-Warren against him, and it's not sticking. It just isn't. People don't buy it. It's not, and this whole he goes, I call him AOC +3, the squad, he gives people names that they already have, which is adorable. Not as adorable
Michigan gave us Motang.
So he decided, because of the riots that were happening around, after the protests, and by the way, Portland has had this running normalcy of weird protests, both right wing and left wing, forever. It doesn't change it. It's almost like the weather in Portland. Like it happens for a while and then it goes away. It's like the fire season in California. It just comes and goes. But after like the CHOP and the Chaz formed in Seattle, like that's what we'll latch onto. That's what we'll do. That the Democrats want this for every city in America. They want, roving gangs of masked black-clothed vigilantes.
That's what I want.
But taking over sections of town, burning tires in the on street corners, and which that they think that is adorable. But at the same time, not recognizing that every time he says these are anarchists, recognize that anarchists don't vote. They don't belong to a political party. They shun them, as a matter of fact. They're no more Democrats than they are Republicans or Independents or Green Party or the People's Front of Judea. They don't care about politics. As a matter of fact, they think politics in general are the problem. And if they can scuttle it and burn it all down, something magical will appear. The green shoots of freedom will pop up, right? So he started running this Law and Order thing, and his whole Law and Order plan was apparently to tweet Law and Order in all caps twice a week. That's the strategy. And then have Don Jr. and Eric come out and say that the Democrats want cities to burn, and they're going to put low-income housing in your suburbs, and you know what that means? That means that the next time something bad happens between a cop and a black person, that those people are going to be right next door to you, and they're going to set your house on fire. That's exactly the strategy. And the polls come back, and it's not working, because people remember that during the Obama-Biden administration, we had Ferguson. We had situations like this. And it was gnarly. And then they tamped it down. And then some people were arrested. Other people were, they formed groups to speak with. They had listening groups between cops and the community. They started the COPS program to help police stations get the bad apples out before they spoil the bunch. And Trump scuttled that. He canceled the COPS program the same month he canceled the pandemic response team. And 2 years later, this was in 2017, and 2 years later, both of those things hit home at the same time. Because this is the kind of strategizing and the kind of mental acuity that gives you 6 bankruptcies and a failed casino. How do you lose money on a casino? The house always wins unless it's Donald Trump's house. We got to take a break. We'll be back right after this. It's the Hal Sparks radio program, a mega worldwide. Al Vickery says, translation of Trump's replacement of
Indeed knows a lot of small businesses took a hit recently. That's right. And are busy trying to figure out plans for the future. So if you're hiring, it means finding the right people is more critical than ever before. Indeed will help you find.
Sorry.
No worries, Nate. Thanks.
Yes, they did. Hold on. We're going to break, so we're good. Monitor. Oh, why are they? What's happening? Yeah, check, one. Oh, they're gone. Yeah, so my headphones died. That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll fix them while we're in break. I charged them. I don't understand. Let's see if they reconnect.
My AirPods died quickly.
What happened?
If you can hear me, Hal, we're back in 60.
I don't think he can hear you.
That's my fear. I'll add another 30 in here.
Okay, hold on. Let's go with my other thing that I normally use. these guys connect.
Ooh.
Come on, you come on. Come on, come on, come on. There we go. You say hi?
Hi.
Can you hear us, Al?
No, I don't think he can.
Uh-oh.
These came back. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
They came back. I don't know why. That was so weird. All right, I'll put these to the side.
Add more time?
Nope, I'm good. We're good.
Can you hear us?
We're good. Yep.
Okay, we're about to come back in 30 seconds.
Cool. That was weird. They just bailed out on me. My hair's caught underneath my...
When I use my AirPods just as headphones, they last a good long time. But when I use them like on phone calls or Zoom calls, they drain so fast.
Well, these are, I'm only using them for the headphone part. I'm using different audio for you. So it shouldn't be, but I don't know that it makes a distinction. I don't think it.
Yeah, it may not know.
Yeah. Hair's very flat today, but it
This is Damian Perdue of Think Theory Radio. Saturdays at 6 p.m. You're listening to Hal Sparks' radio program, Mega Worldwide.
Let's grab another call, because I know we have a few. So 773-763-9278 is our number. Who do we have, Devin?
Next, we got Gonzo out in Pennsylvania.
Gonzo! Right on.
Oh, yeah. I like Gonzo.
Hey, what's going on, Hal?
Hey, Gonzo. How are you?
I just wanted... I'm good, buddy. How are you?
Good.
I just wanted to give her a little history real quick. I'm a retired Marine, disabled, so I'm one of those losers and suckers. I'm also a retired state law enforcement officer, and I worked with a lot of veterans that wouldn't put up with half the stuff that's being said. Now, the thing I don't understand is all of this stuff, and there's stuff like stealing from military charities, the stealing from the 9/11 firefighters, the ignoring the bounties on the troops, the losers and suckers comment, the lying about the severity of the COVID-19, and all this claim of law and order. All the people I worked with over the 30 or 40 years of my life all would stand up for all of this stuff. But it just seems to me over the past 4 years that they're not. All of a sudden, and I don't understand how is it that is it overload information? They can't all not be believing that this stuff is not true because they're not stupid people. And I can't say that they're all racist either. I can't understand why they've accepted Trump, because I know a majority of those people that I worked with, they do. For some godforsaken reason, they do. And I don't understand
theories.
it.
I have some theories, and I'd like your take on them. I have some theories, and I'd like your take on them. I think if it was one single thing, it wouldn't work. The example I make is all religious garb that has stuck through the years has a second purpose. You know what I mean? If you every tribal aspect of humanity that we came up with, white gloves. I was watching an old movie, and everyone in it was a W.C. Fields movie, and he was wearing white gloves, and everyone was wearing white gloves, and they were all doing this. Well, they had just been through the Spanish flu and the tuberculosis epidemic. Everyone was wearing gloves when they went out because the contact, you could catch tuberculosis from touching things and from rags and from other people's stuff. So everybody started wearing white gloves, and you knew they were dirty because they were white. You didn't wear, leather gloves. They didn't realize that, leather might be better to fend it off at the time, but they were harder to clean, blah, blah, blah. But there was a reason why it culturally became normal for people to wear white gloves everywhere. But it wouldn't have worked if it was just like, I think we should all do this. Or even if a famous person or a president wore it, Michael Jackson's glove had a bunch of kids wearing one glove to school, but not every kid doing it. Right. And so you look at the culture of what's going on right now, and if it was one thing, it wouldn't stick. If they were just racist, then it would be that they were wearing, that it was racist symbolism and they wouldn't get away with it because everybody would go, that only reason you're doing that is because you're racist. So it would ultimately be something that would be cast aside because it would call you out as a racist. If it was just because you were worried about immigration or something, but not other things, if you didn't feel economically depressed or other issues, if you just were against illegal immigration, then you would be really for the comprehensive immigration reform bill that comes through, which hardens the border and allows for a path to citizenship, doesn't give direct amnesty, but builds the case over time and establishes DACA as just undocumented Americans, effectively. And you'd go, that's it, we're done. We got that. And you'd have a solid border situation that's written into that bill. Or if it was just the economy, after 2008, you were wrecked by this and you burned so badly by Bush, and you were so embarrassed by your support of this guy after the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, or you felt like you fought for your country but you were lied to, and this back and forth as people during the years after, from 2008 forward, started talking about the war as if it was it was a mistake, it was strategically bad, and you're listening to that at the same time you're dealing with the fact that you have friends who fought and died there, or you yourself lost a limb there. And so you're having that psychological incongruity of your desire to be, to serve and be, show your belief and duty and support of the United States. And at the same time, the general thought about the war is it was the greatest strategic mistake in the history of the world and America's, scar for life. And it was, presented by an idiot, and anybody who voted for it was a criminal. But you went there to, and nearly gave your life, or your friend did, or whatever. It's a hard thing to, to mix with those two things. So you end up finding yourself either voting for the Democrat. A lot of, I voted for Obama twice, are in that crowd. If it was one thing, it would never work. But it's 5 things that all came together that made Donald Trump in a unique position. As a society, we had been overrun with reality TV. We were buying the Kardashians as a legit economic force. So is there that much difference between the Kardashians and the Trumps as a family? Honestly, the difference is that the Trumps are the white version, so they satisfy that for a big chunk of this particular crowd. Maybe if you lean, not racist but racial in your, you believe in your own worth. Let's just say, leave it at that.
But everything, everything you're saying, everything you're saying is a reason to vote for a Democrat.
I agree.
Like all of these policies were fixed by Democrats. All these economic policies were fixed by Democrats. Trump can claim, look at this economy I built. But if you look at the numbers, he didn't build it. If you look at the unemployment, that he only oversaw 1.2% of the overall unemployment, and then he botched that. If you look at the stock market, who's going to get into the stock market right now? It's like up one day and down the next.
It's so volatility will be strong. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, nobody's making any money except for the billionaires.
Yes, being right is not the issue here. You're absolutely correct that every time you look at the charts, the Democrats always have a better economy.
How do we get our friends to understand that Trump is actually on the wrong side of history? How do we get them? Because I am having so much trouble convincing them. And you're my go-to guy. You're my guru. So I'm relying on you to give me my information.
No pressure. Here's what I would say.
Your information.
Right. I would start with I'm not your enemy. I would start there. I would start personally. They know this, but to remind you, we want similar things. We want safety and honesty and duty and all these things. And I just think that Trump is a flim-flam artist. And I'm talking to you like a buddy who is watching you lose your rent playing 3-card Monte on the subway. It's not that I don't believe you want what you want and that your desire for what you want is wrong, because in a lot of ways it isn't. Sound borders and safety and all those things and good economic growth and American manufacturing, those are all worthwhile things. They just happen to grow better under Democrats, and you've been sold a bill of goods. And I don't blame you, because we've all been hit by these horrible things. But you need to know, regardless of what you think about parties, right now, the thing you need to walk away from this conversation is, I'm not your enemy. I'm your fellow American. We got to take a break. Obviously, that's the music. Gonzo, love you. Thanks for calling in, brother. And it's a great point. We will continue to address this both here and on my live stream. We'll be back after the news. Yeah, good times. You muted yourself. Thanks, Gonzo. Great call. It is a rock hard break. It's true. See if I can send you something real quick. Where is it? It's very choppy, but I don't know if it's choppy going out to the peeps, or if it's just because it's pretty. My computer's pretty hot. It's cooking. It's trying to zoom at the same time, bouncing video from you out or whatever. That's where like a lot of people do StreamYards when they gather people together, so it mashes the two together in the middle. But it's getting the audio through is just ridiculous. By the way, subscribe. I'll remember to say it all in there. I'm going to send you a link, Johnny Million, for you to of something to watch during
over the chat or on my phone.
Probably over. Yeah, I'll send it on your phone.
Okay.
Give me 1 second. Everything's very slow right now because I've got so many things up. I don't have the other computer set up, and that's how I used to check the stream. Was I would have Restream and all the what the video looks like online on another computer entirely, so that I don't have to do all three at once. Because I have to have Restream up. But there you go. And here we go. And videos. There we go. And there you go. There's this.
I'm all excited.
Very exciting. It should be coming through, or you get a link.
Got it.
Whoop. Yeah.
Back in 60 guys, and we got full phone lines.
Excellent. Good job, Gonzo. You've made them fill the lines.
What is all this?
New tune.
Is this 01?
Nope.
So who's in Purify?
Me, Stephen Brewer, Ricky Bonaza, and Mike Dupke from Wasp. You shouldn't be able to hear it.
Which guys from Wasp?
The drummer.
You're listening to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
I've had people walk out on me before, but not
Your shirt keeps changing color.
was being so charming.
Video streaming
he's on to me.
HalSparks.com.
I don't care for you or for the putrid sludge you're troweling out.
Damn plus-faced little pimpstick.
True progressive talk.
Might be a good time for you guys to give up.
Welcome back. This is going to be one of those blazing shows where it just zips by because we got full phone lines. Who do we have first, Devin?
First, we got Richard out in Waukegan.
Excellent. Hey, Richard, welcome.
Hi. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring out the reason why Woodward was careful about his book being printed at this time is because 48 years ago, approximately, Woodward and Bernstein were warned by deep throat that their lives were in danger because of their Watergate writings. I wonder if that could cause him to be somewhat more careful, make sure the timing was correct.
Yeah, I mean, do you think it has something to do? I believe this, that it has something to do with both the news cycle as it stands. Think of all the things that are horrifying that we've been through over the last 6 months that seem like 100 years ago in terms of the nationwide attention span, and what things that should have affected any other presidency going into an election would have been scuttled early on and maybe even led to the resignation of the president themselves. This president has just continued to soldier on, and his own people have supported him throughout. So there is no reason for Bob Woodward to believe that if he had released this information in March, that A, it would have changed anything, and B, it would have just gone into the dustbin of history with all the other horrifying things we learn about Donald Trump. There's a reason for the timing of it as well. And now we know that there are 18 interviews that Trump gave, all of which, by the way, will probably be, there'll be a chunk of them every week leading up to the election. I have no doubt. Now that it's cleared. Thoughts?
And
yeah.
Woodward's going to be on 60 Minutes tomorrow, and that might straighten some things out too.
Certainly.
And then Michael Cohen is going to be on The View the next day on Monday morning.
Yeah.
And he could straighten a few things out too. I'm interested to see both of them.
Yeah, there is a stampede right now of everyone getting their information out when they're getting it out. And like Michael Cohen's book, obviously the timing of that was affected by the fact that the Trump administration was trying to stop him from releasing it, period. So that actually did slow down the release of the book. And the knowledge that Michael Cohen, puts forward in the book, with the exception of some detail, was in his congressional testimony, was in his his plea agreement, was in his conversations and interviews leading up to it. There's a lot of narrative and internal stuff in his book that's detailed, but we know the broad strokes. The difference was Woodward's stuff was he was battening down the hatches, and since he's not writing a newspaper column while he's doing it, during Watergate, there's a wait. There's the book comes out in one lump, and if you don't have it all together and you release half a book, it would be easy for this president to skate the responsibility laid forth in it. So I'm looking forward to those two. I appreciate the call. Devin, who do we have next?
Next, we got David out in Sacramento.
Excellent. Hey, David. There he is. Is he there? David, you with us? Hello? Hello, David? I don't hear him.
I don't hear him either.
Let's move on.
Oh, yeah, it happens. By the way, we're streaming live at twitch.tv/Hal Sparks. You can subscribe to the show there and help us financially by doing so. If you're an Amazon Prime member, it doesn't cost you a dime. That's right. Amazon Prime does not cost you a dime. You can subscribe and help the channel. Just that easy. It's just go to Twitch and set up a little account and then say yes. Subscribe, and that helps us. Let's see. Who else do we have, Devin?
Next, we got George on the south side.
Right on. Hey, George. Welcome.
Hey, Hal. Thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely.
One quick observation before I get to my main point. As you probably know, the Biden-Harris campaign raised $364,500,000 last month, essentially doubling Trump's fundraising total.
Yeah, $126 million is what they got.
Among the many outstanding attributes that Kamala Harris brings to the table as a vice presidential candidate is the fact that she has an amazingly large, complex, and effective fundraising network that she's built up over her political career.
That's
I mean, naturally, she has the advantage of being from the Golden State, which is the richest one in the country. But if you move up the ladder as fast as she did from district attorney, state attorney general to United States senator, you have got to know what you're doing, because you got to raise money across the largest economic state in the nation. Plus, she received lots of effective tutoring earlier in her career from Willie Brown, the former Assembly Speaker and San Francisco mayor. So I'm sure that the Biden people counted that as a very significant aspect of
I hadn't really folded that into my thinking.
Candidate.
But yeah, you're absolutely right.
The other thing is you and a number of the callers have made points about Woodward's decision, when to publish and when to speak. Here in Chicago, there's a very old institution known as the City News Bureau, and it's been around in various forms forever. And fledgling reporters were always given this very important advice at the beginning of their careers: check it out. Don't believe anybody. If your mother says she loves you, check it out. Now, when you have a liar like Trump, who's got over 19,000 documented lies, if you're Bob Woodward, you're going to want to back up what he said to you with at least 2 other sources. And since it's Trump, probably 3 or 4 or 5. It's going to take time, even if you've got people working with you, to contact all the people you need to contact to say, hey, did Trump say this in such and such a meeting or anything like it at any other meeting? And then you got to nail all that stuff down.
That's right. Yeah, because half the corroboration. I want to stick on that point for 1 second. Half the corroboration of what Woodward was ultimately finding and using in his book, and that has come out on the tape, and when he's talked to Mattis and others, is not so much that he's corroborating the truth about what Trump is saying, but that is something that Donald Trump has said, both to me in this recording, but to other people as well. This is not a one-off situation where this particular lie or this particular thought pattern that he has is unique to this interview. And so you have to go check with, has Trump ever said anything about this being airborne and deadly and worse than the flu to you? And other people go, yeah, he said, because, and he's got this interview with Trump that allows him to say, he said to me in the interview that he knew that he regarded this as deadly. You have to word it in a way that doesn't look like you're trying with a lot of the White House staff. But if you go, the president said this. Has he said this to you? Is this in line with what you've heard from him? And what they'll say is, yeah, this is what he said to me, or no, he never says anything like that or whatever. And then you know that either Trump is blowing smoke in your direction, or they're covering, and so you've got to go check again and again. So please continue. But you're not necessarily checking the lie or the truth of what he's saying, just the lie or the truth that he says or believes this, which is a different level.
Yeah, and in addition, even when he is caught in a lie, he denies that he said it. So you're going to, even if it's on video and audio, he still denies it, and so then you've got to be able to come back with several sources that confirm what you said originally.
Right.
The other thing I'm thinking about is, and I'm speculating here, we don't know what kind of contractual agreement he had with the publishers. I mean, it may have been in their working agreement that there couldn't be any release of material until they were ready to publish. And in a way, that's like the non-disclosure agreements that Trump is so comfortable with, and how he insists on it with everybody who works for him. So a publisher has a vested interest in making sure that the release of the book, well, actually the author too, that the release of the book is done as effectively as possible. And in any event, Bob Woodward is not the president of the United States. He's not the one making these malign decisions that cost people their lives. And Trump's response to this was so lame, it made me sick to my stomach.
Yeah, the whole, if it was so bad, why didn't he say anything?
Exactly.
Which is, by the way, I'm sorry, so you're going to apologize to Vindman now? because that's effectively what he did. He saw that this was horrifying, went immediately to an inspector general, immediately filed a whistleblower complaint. They immediately sent it up to the Congress. The Congress said, you have to go through the channels, otherwise he'll scuttle this. Go back, batten down every hatch, cross every T, dot every I, and then bring it back to us. And they did just that. He didn't actually, his response to Vindman wasn't, oh, good for him. You know, finally he saw that I was doing something bad and he went right out there and said it immediately. It's absurd. So I appreciate
Go
ahead.
And one more quick point. I've read a story or two in the last couple of weeks that said that Biden's campaign has already started preparations for a transition, which may seem a little premature, but it's actually very responsible because if and when they win, they're going to have hit the ground running hard and fast because Trump is going to leave such a wreckage behind. And I would hope that they have a little subcommittee in that group that will encourage people like Fiona Hill and Colonel Vindman and Captain Brett Crozier of the Navy and the hundreds of others who are patriotic, loyal Americans who wanted to serve this country to the best of their ability, who got booted out on their rears by this administration. They should have a talent reclamation program.
Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be a ton of people who are going to come back to their jobs after the fact and be brought back in, especially the pandemic response team, which will absolutely be put back in place and run, fully, not just to head up this as a primary task force, which it would be, but also as a, this is the pandemic response team will effectively be the prep team for the next possible pandemic or the next possible outbreak, because they got to do two jobs at once. Because anybody, it's like the end of Jaws analogy I always give. They've blown up this giant shark by shooting this tank in it, chumming the waters, and now they're kick paddling back to shore, forgetting that the sea is full of normal-sized sharks too.
I wondered about that too.
Yes, it's always been a sticking point. I appreciate the call. We got to take a break. It's the Hal Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide. More calls after this. 773-763-9278. There's the Jamal Khashoggi story too.
Back in 60, guys.
Thank you. The Khashoggi thing in and of itself, the fact that he said, I saved his ass about MBS, about Mohammed bin Salman, by covering for him is unbelievable. And again, that's one of those areas where, like, if Obama had done that, we get... Come on.
Yeah.
But
just the never-ending list of if Obama had done this.
This is Tom Hartman, and you're listening to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide on Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT.
Thank you for joining us every Saturday, 9 to 11. Johnny, your head, it disappeared earlier. Everybody thought I didn't notice, but I was busy talking and listening. I know. Quit. No one can hear that on the radio. They don't know what you're doing. They have to go to. If they don't watch the live stream, they don't understand. They think something bad is happening to you from behind. How do we make it stop? the favorite, one of my favorite Dylan Morin. He goes, you listen to someone speaking German and you think, what is happening to you from behind? How do we make it stop? And so there is always a tidal wave of horrible acts committed by this president that in the normal functioning of government would scuttle any other Democratic leader, clearly, as much as he's like, if the Democrats were in this and they'd spied on a campaign, they'd be in jail for a long time. No, you're the one that should be in jail for a long time, and you're the one scuttling this. This is another one of those projection kind of things. He's aware that he's getting away with a crime. So, there, 18 separate interviews. Pieces of these things include, like after they come out in the book, will be played on the news to promote this thing going forward. The audio book of this thing is going to sell like hotcakes, 10 at a time with syrup on top. And there are a bunch of revelations in it. Business Insider reported that Donald Trump was not only aware, this is in the book, that Mohammed bin Salman was behind the kidnapping, torture, dismemberment, murder, and burning of Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi. Trump deliberately acted to provide cover for that murder. In fact, Trump called up Woodward to brag that he had protected bin Salman from investigations by Congress. I saved his ass, said Trump. I was able to get Congress to leave him alone. I was able to get them to stop. To do this, Trump did what he always does. He lied about it, and he refused to hand over a report that was required by law. So Turkish authorities were aware of the murder within minutes. A special UN investigation concluded that the blame for the murder and everything that led up to it fell squarely on bin Salman, but Trump refused to hand over a report demanded by the Senate on a bipartisan vote. Instead of a report, Trump waited until February 8th, curiously enough, the day after one of the interviews, maybe the day before the other interviews, and then sent Congress a statement that he, quote, reserved the right to decline doing an investigation at all. So, and this is, let's see, when is this? February 12th. This is Daily Kos wrote an article about this, and I think it's, again, this is one of those things where in any other circumstance, a president would have had to resign about this. He helped the leader of a impossibly rich Muslim country, where the country by which the majority of the 9/11 hijackers came to the United States in a flight they didn't know how to land. And this is the article. Congressional Republicans are worried that Donald Trump might overreach his authority by misusing the National Emergency Act to steal billions for his wall. But that's not the only sign that Trump is simply done even pretending about his separation of powers thing. Last November, following the brutal torture and murder of Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi, the Senate issued a bipartisan demand under the Magnitsky Act, which, by the way, is that thing that Trump and the Russians have been trying to get rid of the entirety of his presidency, that the White House investigate and produce a report on the killing. But on Friday, February 8th, when that report was due, Congress did not get a report. Instead, according to Politico, it got a statement from Trump that he reserved the right to decline. Trump declared that for him, following the law is strictly optional. We all know the story of the thing, so I don't have to re-litigate that. Republicans are, in Politico's words, fuming. They're fuming so much that former Senator Bob Corker, who signed on to require the report, had no comment. Neither did many others who beat their chest over the topic 4 months ago. But there are a handful of Republicans willing to complain, enough that Politico classifies it as an uproar, even though that uproar is getting almost no media attention and no Senate action. They owe us a report, said Senator Rob Portman of Ohio. We can make a fuss about it. Well, yeah, they made a fuss, and it did nothing. The committee's chairman, Senator Jim Rich of Idaho, hasn't shown discomfort with the administration's Friday letter. He wouldn't commit to further action to compel compliance with the Magnitsky Act, a marked contrast to Corker's time as chairman. And of course, Lindsey Graham said about the White House not supplying that report and denying, that's up to them. That was his response. A reporter and a resident of the United States, and a reporter for an American newspaper, was strangled and chopped up, stabbed and chopped up, and parts of his body were spread out all over the place by the leader of another country. And what did Trump do? First, nothing, then obstruct, then all those soldiers that we supposedly took out of Syria that were protecting the Kurds from the Turks and that were holding our bases that the Russians now have. He moved them to Saudi Arabia. They all are just standing watch at oil processing plants, so that if the Houthi rebels in Yemen decide that they want to drop missiles, fire missiles at the Saudis again, at these particular plants, which were the targets, they'll have to kill American soldiers to do it. Basically, it's a game of chicken, using our soldiers as sandbags against this flood of missiles. So we can take one. Let's take another call real quick. 773-763-9278 is our number. Who do we have, Devin?
Next, we got Russell out in Indiana.
Cool. Hey, Russell.
Hi, Hal.
Hey.
Your show started off really funny, but these people that Trump supporters and stuff, it's just like, it's keep it simple, stupid, because they're going to support Trump whatever he does. And man, I'm saying maybe the more we make fun of these idiots, the less they're gonna congregate and whatever, and they're gonna vote. And then
I do think you're onto something. You're onto something, because I think shame, real shame, genuine shame, doesn't matter to these folks. They even did a scientific study recently about yelling at people for not wearing masks actually makes them entrench. I have a buddy who, if you even bring up vegetarianism, he'll joke that night he's going to have a steak just because you said the word. That's his reaction, and he means it. And this is the similar kind of thing. If you genuinely try to point at the moral failings of someone or try to give them a solid piece of advice, their reaction is to double down. But there's a difference between kind of just like moral shaming and comedic shaming. Because embarrassment is a much better tool for Trump himself and the Trump folks. That's why every day on my stream, I take his speeches and I refuse to take them seriously. We joke through the whole thing. I definitely push back with facts, but the goal is to make it embarrassing to try and support this guy. Make it laughable. And you're absolutely right that making it laughable is, the genuine shame won't work. But making them feel like they're being laughed at because it's embarrassing, and they should be, may be the key to opening some of them up. Now, you have to do it in a way that allows them an off-ramp, otherwise that'll entrench them as well. Like, you always have to allow someone who's in a moral or emotional or psychological cul-de-sac, you have to give them an off-ramp, otherwise most people would rather be right than happy. So you can make them dig in. And so that's the trick. And you really have to, when you're talking to somebody, and this goes to what Gonzo was saying in his call earlier too, is that you have to go on a case-by-case basis. What is this person that I'm talking to, what's important to them about supporting this dude? And if it's just macho, then I don't get it, because from his hand gestures to his gut, to his neck waddle, to his ridiculous sort of effete New York concepts that he grew up in the elite schools and the best words and all that stuff. The idea that he's an example of being macho is kind of bizarre in and of itself and easily mockable, But you have to understand, these are people who are putting his head on Rambo's body. And specifically, can I say, they use the Rocky one, but they also, when they use the Rambo one, he's holding either a Laws, it's not a Laws rocket, it's but it's like a tank buster or something like that. But it's from Rambo 2, I think. And the idea that he thinks our soldiers are losers and suckers, and that movie is about Rambo refusing to leave POWs behind. And at the end of the movie, he go, John, you'll get another Medal of Honor for this. And he goes, give it to them, they deserve it. to the men and they're loading the POWs onto a helicopter and they're all getting, medical care. I mean, it gets a little ham-handed in his monologue at the end, but the irony is lost on these folks. I think you're right, though. The mocking of it, it does help with some folks. The QAnon crowd I think are in a psychosis. They're in a, it's a genuine cult. That's a different thing altogether. They are wackadoodle, and sometimes, like, you dig deep enough, it's all anti-Semitism, and it's all based on the exact same conspiracy theories that have been going on forever. It's always the Rothschilds or the Rockefellers or, Jewish bankers funding both sides of World War II or whatever. I mean, they might as well be Black Hebrew Israelites for all, for all their kookiness. But the Trump fans themselves who aren't Q fans, I think are reachable. They just believe that their concerns are never answered fully. And I think more communication can actually help. But you have to, it has to start, I think, honestly, with a, really, dude? Really? You think this guy, this is the guy, this guy, you're okay with this, and 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 this. You're okay with it. Not just letting it happen. You're signing off on it. You support it. You want more of that. You want more of our soldiers called losers and suckers. You want more of our journalists thrown into wood chippers by Saudi princes. What? Like, what happened to you is a good question to ask a bunch of these folks. So, how often, well, we got to take a break, but real quick, how often are you in these conversations with folks like this or whatever? Do they just start the spout off, or is it because you say something? Because I find them, they spout off.
It's not. I did phone soliciting for Obama. I was in his phone rooms and stuff.
Right.
And it seems like these people take a phone call, they're almost on your side. They're feel like they're ignored.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said. You have to recognize people's wants and desires in life, and you have to offer an alternative that recognizes their needs. You can't just write them off or label them or dismiss them. And even when we have tons of trolls in my chat room and people who come in all the time, and I appreciate them. They're here today. I appreciate you guys for padding my numbers and making my show more popular than it would be otherwise. But at the same time, you have to give them. You have to look at someone, even if you know they are a deeply flawed and broken person. You have to give them an off-ramp where they can find some road to moral correction, where they can grow and become a decent person, where and you also have to recognize that they have gaps in themselves that they're trying to fill through their sycophantic following of this, second generation rich kid con man. And he said, he's a road preacher. This is the same flim flam that road preachers have been doing forever to the exact same people. We got to take a break. I appreciate the call, and it was an excellent point. We'll be back right after this. It's the House Parks Radio program, Mega Worldwide, on WCPT Radio, Chicago's Progressive Talk. There are people who support Trump not because they like and respect him, but because he validates the side of their worst angels. He makes things like bullying and racism not only acceptable, but preferred. I don't doubt that, but I also think, and by the way, everybody loves the cat. Who's a doo kitty? Who's a boo boo? Who's a boo boo doo doo? A boo boo doo boo doo. I can't hear you because you're muted. Can't mute.
I said, habba-da-boo.
Habba-da-boo.
We're back in 60, guys.
First he's singing, then he's meowing. The man is losing his mind. We don't know what's happening.
I'll be right back.
I randomly sang in meow before, Cal. It's completely acceptable nowadays.
I'm not alone. That makes me feel a lot better. Thank you. I gotta empty this tip jar at some point too. Empty the jar, will you? They just did an update on the Stream Deck and everything. My whole computer's something else is on. I think it's just having the zoom on. It's just like I gotta find out what uses the least amount of energy as far as getting another camera into this. Better than Zoom and other stuff. like using an IP camera or something like that. Maybe that's it. How do gamers do it? I know they do it all the time.
I'm Dick Kay from Back on the Beat, and here is the Mega Worldwide Radio program with Hal Sparks.
We're having a good time taking calls, so why not take another one? Who do we have, Devin?
Next, we got Roosevelt from Chicago.
Excellent.
Hal, how you doing? Thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Hey, you know what? It was weird. I don't know if you found it strange the way he was talking to Bob Woodward. And he also disclosed a secret weapon system. And remember when he criticized...
Yeah.
Remember when he criticized Obama? Remember when he criticized Obama from pulling the troops? Because you never tell the enemy when you're going to pull out your troops.
Totally.
And here he is giving up, almost boasting, bragging, braggadociously what we have. And that tells me that if he bragged to Bob Woodward, who else did he talk to and say said these things?
Oh, well, Sergei Kislyak in the White House. I mean, we know that they outed an Israeli spy during that meeting. It probably led to their death. This has been a running issue for a while. So, yeah, of course. I mean, especially if he considers these folks to be on his level. So many times, Trump does not consider people. They consider people below him. I think, and this may be a curious part of it. This may be an issue. Is that by thinking someone is below him, it's almost like he brags that he is. He's showing off how much access and how much he knows to people less than him.
That's it.
By telling them more. Like, look what I know that you don't know, and I'm only giving you a taste of all the stuff I know. And by the way, when you run and you become the nominee, you get Secret Service briefings that if you were a real estate developer with worldwide properties, would be worth their weight in gold. Just having the access to that kind of stuff, just having the ability to have know where we're moving troops in or out of, knowing where we're, where we know there's going to be conflict, where, like what our Army Corps of Engineers says about sea rise all over the world. Having access to that information as a developer is, that in and of itself is reason enough for any rich person to run for office and get the nomination and lose. There's value in just getting it and lose, and that's ultimately what he thought he was going to end up doing in this circumstance. I'm with a lot of people that don't believe that he actually that he wanted this. Knew full well that he was going to, he thought he was going to lose, but he would benefit from all the information that he got, and he could, and was obviously in the process of passing that stuff off to the Russians and whoever else would bankroll some of his buildings. And we're all looking down the barrel of, Trump Tower Pyongyang in, 2023. So, go ahead.
And Hal, can you explain to me how we could get stuck with paying Trump's defense as far as Gene Carroll suing him for rape? I know Bill Barr's acting like his own private attorney, but can he get away with that? I mean, he's gotten away with a lot of stuff, emoluments clause and everything. So can he get away with us paying for his defense for rape?
Here's the thing. This is the angle they're using. Is that, and this is Bill Barr's angle. The rape accusation in and of itself, they would never go anywhere near. They wouldn't be able to do that at all. No DOJ could go there. But lying and about E. Jean Carroll and defaming her is in some ways, this is how Barr is seeing it, protecting the presidency and the president himself from malicious rumors and malicious attacks on his character that will materially affect the United States, and therefore that is the reasoning behind why they can protect him. Now, let's be clear. That's garbage.
Yeah.
But that's the argument, that it's not the actual case that E. Jean Carroll initially brought about the charges of the sexual assault, but the slander case that she's, bringing against him now. And so Barr is arguing that tweeting lies is part of Trump's presidential duty, and therefore, and by the way, he could arguably, Barr, there's no reason to think Barr wouldn't use this to say that, no, the president lied about the danger of COVID, but he was doing it in his capacity as president, and therefore he's not guilty of 150,000 counts of depraved indifference. So, I mean, that is absolutely, the reasoning behind what they're doing. And I think it will fail. I think I think it will be either rejected by the courts as an argument, or E. Jean Carroll will file another motion to have them removed. That this is not they're not fighting the U.S. government. She's fighting an individual, and it will it'll be a in chambers or approach the bench couple of moments, and that will go away because it's ridiculous. But and again, let him try this stuff within 56 and 53 days or whatever of an election. Please, by all means, please, by all means, you do this. Choose this hill to die on. Start fighting this war while this other stuff gets continually leaked out from the Woodward book. Use the DOJ to fight a slander charge about a rape case that you have. Get that in the news, Law and Order. And by the way, one of the Republican laments in the news this week that had to do with them, the lack of fundraising, the fact that Biden went up 0.5 point nationwide and up 3 points in 4 different polls in the last week because of the suckers and losers stuff that came out. This stuff continuing about the COVID stuff is not helping either. But a lot of people, the idea that you're using the DOJ to protect yourself is not a very popular point. And the Republicans are especially really nervous about this concept, especially because not only was the Law and Order message failing, it wasn't doing what they wanted it to do. It wasn't working. Now they're moving to socialism. That's going to be we're going to be like a cross between Venezuela and a bonfire. That's what they're going to be telling everybody, that Biden wants to defund the police, which he doesn't, and Biden wants every city to become Portland, which he doesn't. Although Portland's lovely most of the time. Except when it's crazy. You're adorable, Portland. Get your act together. There is going to be, the Republicans were watching the Law and Order thing fall apart. It gets even worse when you are yelling Law and Order and you're tweeting Law and Order, and then you use the DOJ to fight an individual filing a slander suit against you in a rape case. Like, how easy is your balloon to pop in this circumstance? So that's what we're going to, that was already failing, and this will make that part of it worse. Absolutely. I appreciate the call. Let me grab one more call before we get to the break, because I think we have another person on the line too. Appreciate it. Good conversation. Who do we have, Devin?
Next, we got Robert in Florida.
Oh, right on. Robert, how are you?
Good. Hey, my phone is all garbage. Hang on a minute.
Can you hear
me now? Hello?
Yeah. It's not.
All right.
Yeah, there you go. Go for
it.
All right,
hello. Hey, I apologize. Man, you know what? I was telling my wife, this is like a great white shark swimming around and finding a big blue whale just died, and it's all his and all his own. I mean, there's so much meat on this bone here.
Seriously.
I mean, we can go in any direction. And It's just overwhelming. And my wife made up, my wife, she says, hey, notice that every time he gets away with one thing, he does another.
Yeah.
So, after the Mueller report, he did the Ukraine call. After the Republican senators let him off the hook on February 2nd, 5th, 2 days later, he's talking to this guy. And I'm thinking, there's got to be another reason for this. We're all looking at one direction, and there's no shame in him, and there's no shame in his people. You're right. You can't shame them. They're committed.
You have to embarrass them, and that's different.
Right. You can't. Right. But what I think it is, I actually believe that there is a P-take now. I never really did. But I think he's in this sadomasochism and self-abuse. And I think it works on this level and this level only. He needs half the country angry so that his cult says, "Oh my God, look, they're going to vote those people." So they'll show up and vote.
Right. He must be doing something right. Right. You can tell how good I'm doing by how upset my enemy is the idea. And it's not based on a functional attack, and first of all, half the country is not your enemy. Sorry, it just isn't. That goes for the Republicans.
You're right. We're all 100% Americans, right?
Yep. I can disagree with them, and I can know that they're crazy. I want to ask you though, about that part of it is that I think it's stacking now. I think there is a difference, and I think a lot of the he's been able to skate by on these things, but it's building, and Lincoln Project and Midas Touch especially have a lot to do with this. But it's really keeping it, you start layering all these things, it gets a lot harder. And it's why a lot of his followers are more entrenched, because they have to be. You have to be so deeply, head in the sand to deal with this. But I think there's a ton of people who are working at, remember this, remember this, remember this, remember this, remember this, remember this, and it starts to become this tsunami.
You could be the funniest comedian all the time, and then eventually your jokes don't fly anymore. It's just, people get tired. People, I'm not going to name people's names,
stuff.
But
if it's the same stuff all the time,
if the sport is same, if the New England won the Super Bowl last year or the year before, you would get tired of New England, and half the country hates New England, except the people who live in Boston who love their team.
Right.
You just want to see something different at this point.
Right.
And I think people are tired of him. I have a thing about Khashoggi that you brought up that I think we're all missing here, is that we don't need to talk to him as he was a reporter from Saudi Arabia who lived in America. No, you got to say he's the father of 2 American boys.
Yes.
And then that now it connects. And here's another thing. I know I'm everywhere. I'm that shark that doesn't even know where to bite.
Yeah.
But
there's too much.
I'm thinking, okay, when he knew about this with COVID, when did our military become aware of wearing masks and social distancing? I mean, if he knew this and he spit this out to this guy Burns or
Woodward.
Woodward.
Bob Woodward.
Woodward. Sorry, I'm all. Oh,
that's all right. I understand.
Angry.
It's what I call the tyranny of options. It's when you're overwhelmed by the options that you have. That's exactly what it is.
Okay, they got the Navy guy. They made him retire for defending his, protecting his own crew. Remember? And what did he do? He told his crew that there's a disease out there. We have to, and we can't go on until we all figure out how to stop this thing.
And by the way, he quietly got his job back.
Oh, he did?
Yep.
Yeah, but I think they did, and then took it away again. I don't know.
Right.
Listen, Hal, I love you. I love the work that you do. I appreciate you, the information you're sharing with everybody, and
I appreciate
the time you let people talk and stuff like that. It's great. It's great listening, and I enjoy it.
Thanks, Robert.
I like it when you're quiet.
Yeah. He's on his phone right now. I think he's playing Candy Crush. But
I am.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna win.
Robert, I always like giving Robert a little extra, leg room than he's used to, when he calls in to Steph or other shows. It's important to me that you have a little more room to.
I just love his Florida accent.
The Florida accent is actually not a Florida, you know that. I mean,
yes,
I'm
and you know that.
Burned down. I'm from Rochester, the place with the riots,
That's right.
And it's hard to see your city in shambles, And,
you mean the Biden riots?
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Give me a break. This is.
People vote for me, or this country will become what it actually is right now. Did you hear that part where they used footage from I think it was like Czechoslovakia or Ukraine? They were using footage from Ukraine, both unrest and stock footage of people getting along and dealing with COVID and all that stuff. It was all from Ukraine. And I was like, why is the footage never from Italy? Why is it never from England or Sweden or Spain or Brazil? Like, why is it always Russia or Ukraine?
Well,
why is it
I'll tell you
always
why.
someplace
Because
that
those are-
Rudy Giuliani just flew back from?
All right. Well, and they're also in the most modern part of those countries because they don't want the cars driving the wrong way in England. In the backdrop.
Yeah,
they don't
well,
want something that.
Oh, they posted footage of riots. Yeah, they posted footage of riots and forgot that the street signs were written in Serbian. You're like, come on. Yeah, it's just pitiful.
You gotta be detective. You gotta play detective. What you seeing? All right,
That's
brother.
right.
Thank you again. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, brother. We got to take a
All
break.
right,
I appreciate it, Robert. Take care of yourself. Be safe. It's the Hal Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide on WCPT Radio. Now with 100% more Johnny Million. At JMillion on Twitter, if you want to follow him there. At Hal Sparks is my handle, both there and on Instagram. Of course, the Hal Sparks page on Facebook. And of course,
Where do you think you got that Florida accent?
I'm going to go with, I don't know, it sounds
Cicero?
French. Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm going to get, Cicero. Somewhere around Lower Wacker. Somewhere in that general area. And twitch.tv/Hal Sparks, or become a Patreon supporter, patreon.com/Hal Sparks. You can help us. You can help the show grow. Do it before Bain Capital comes in and takes the station right out from under us. All right, we'll be back.
I want to hear your Bane voice. What's your Bane voice?
Don't you understand, Batman, that I'm personal friends with Mitt Romney?
Yeah, right.
I'm going to break your back.
I always thought it was weird that they fixed the voice and then it sounds like yipes, headless, armless Johnny. It sounds like it's if you lean back away, like your head back and keep your chest.
Oh,
there
yeah!
That's what it does.
Yes!
Back in 60 guys, we got one phone call left.
Okay, thank you. It's pretty horrifying. Yeah, there you go. It comes back.
It's way too much fun.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Charlie Murphy. I was having too much fun. 704 sub points.
Wait.
Look at these people subbing.
I can't believe that I've been messing with that when we got all of this ridiculousness.
Yep. Did you hear the whole song?
No, I only heard the first 90 seconds, but it's strong as hell.
Oh, look at you. Where is
See?
that?
It's filters.
Oh, in where? Is it just
in like the video settings, where if you go to like stop video and video settings, you can choose choose video filter.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
You don't like that one?
No,
I can mix it up.
I love it. Where are they?
Welcome back to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide. It's now time for the happy ending. Yay!
Yay! Happy ending being that we have one more caller left on the line. And John.
Who is it, Hal?
I don't know. Good grief. Mine doesn't have that, but I think you should keep that look. The hats, you've outgrown that one. Let's see. Who else do we have, Devin? Who's our final caller for today?
Billy from the chat room.
Oh, Billy, right on.
Billy.
Billy. How are you, sir?
Hey, guys, doing fine.
Oh, Billy.
I didn't expect that kind of intro.
It's Judge Smales from Caddyshack. Billy.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's right. Welcome. Go ahead, please. The floor is yours.
Is it any surprise that a guy who would have made more money by just collecting simple interest that had to borrow from his sister, brother, and from Russia, and from Deutsche Bank, and declared bankruptcy 4 times?
Mm-hmm.
Is it any surprise he'd have spent $800 million over 4 years to be 10 points behind Biden?
Yeah. And I know, Billy, I've said this on the regular live stream, especially when he brings it up about Biden in particular. He's like, he's the worst candidate ever. I'm like, you're losing to him by 10 points. What does that say about you? If he's the worst candidate ever, you should be trouncing him. It goes to like the perfect call. It was a perfect call. Okay, no perfect call ever results in an impeachment. If it was perfect, it wouldn't have even gotten you into this situation. It would have been so perfect, nothing could have happened. And again, when he says perfect, he just means that he thinks he said all the stuff he needed to say without saying anything incriminating, and Rudy Giuliani would go over and say the really heavy-handed criminal stuff in person. It's like it's like Mike Flynn will make the introductions, but Carter Page will bring the paperwork. So
and his eyebrows.
So Billy, you watched this stuff. Did you? Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, and Biden hasn't campaigned that much.
Right.
No.
Yeah. I mean, he was doing, for all the stuff about him being in the basement and they don't do anything and blah, blah, blah. On his website, he was doing these virtual town halls like every other day for a stretch. He was, he was...
Biden was cooking in the basement.
Yes, he was cooking. He totally was. He had guests on all the time. He had somebody running the chat for him. He was talking. They did the initial one with like the camera, and that's the only thing that got on the news. And then after that, they got their system down. They got it functioning. They, like everybody in this ramp up. My show looked like crap when I first started it. I was like, I've switched software 3 times and done all kinds of stuff. It's just part of, building something and establishing it and making it work and fixing the parts that don't and all that kind of stuff. And so, Biden's operating this entire thing from his house. And then he goes, they're hitting him on announcing that in 10 days he was going to go restart the campaign in person. And then he went out the next day and did an interview, and the next day gave a speech. And the day after that, they drove over to, I think they went to Pennsylvania and gave a speech. These weren't rallies. Uh-huh. Yeah, these weren't rallies or gatherings. They just went out and did stuff. So they planned ahead. The Trump angle is make fun of him for doing this because he was like, in 10 days I'm gonna be showing up at this place. Maybe during a contagious disease, taking the time to think about where you're going and the impact it will have on the community and the people that are actually there is the smart thing to do.
Sincerely.
That part is just maddening to me.
Trump was ever accused of doing something smart, he does selfish stuff, and it doesn't work all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and
really, if somebody does something that's...
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
I just think...
I'm sorry, I was just going to say if somebody...
Johnny was saying that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if somebody does something that's not selfish, Trump thinks that they're foolish.
Or that they're weak. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I also think that...
self-serving.
And again, I have to say, between the three of us, and anybody who's within earshot, I suppose, that I don't think Trump does selfish right. And it always pisses me off. Look, I love murder mysteries. I love real crime shows. Johnny and I were talking about it before the thing. My girlfriend and I used to binge watch Criminal Minds, for hours at a time, when we're just like, you just have it on in the background while you're doing other stuff. And, I love it. And I always would hate it. Remember the John Lovitz character? Yeah, that's the ticket. Yeah, that's the ticket.
God, that's easily his penultimate character.
Okay, stolen from Michael Keaton's stand-up, by the way. Michael Keaton had a character that became was ultimately turned into the movie Johnny Dangerously later on, was part of his stand-up, where he goes, I used to lie to my parents, but I learned how to lie by watching old 50s movies. And there'd always be these guys going, hey, Johnny, did you know, where were you, the other night? I wasn't anywhere near the murder. Who said he was murdered?
Yeah.
I read about it in the paper. Yeah, that's it. That's the ticket. I read about it in the paper. Yeah. I read about the murder in the paper. That was an old Michael Keaton bit. And it was about people who were bad liars. And it was the aggravating part of, the red herring in any ham-handed mystery. I have a pet peeve about people who can't lie or be selfish right. If I can see you doing it, it makes me angry. At least be a decently, a functional crook.
Yeah, I actually spend a lot of time trying to not be that person because I can be very deceitful when I let the worst sides of me through.
Oh, I know.
But I'm like really good at it. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Oh,
He thinks
they've had to stop counting his lies. There's been so many.
Yeah, that's right. But with Trump, and we only got a couple minutes left, but Trump himself, like when he could have, the earlier caller when she was saying, he could have simply just done the right thing and he would have been a shoo-in. It is absolutely true. It is absolutely true that if Trump had come out in February and said, this is the worst pandemic that's ever going to hit the United States, and you're lucky I'm here to guide you through it. We're all going to nationwide mask mandate. The markets, we're going to make everything we can to shore you guys up and keep a steady business. I'm going to start negotiating right now with the House and the Senate to get a package through to make sure that during a lockdown, which we're going to need to do to protect human lives and American lives, because America first, I'm gonna make sure that everybody gets paycheck protection and unemployment. We're gonna get through this, and we will be back through this faster than any other country. You're seeing it on the news in all these other countries. Italy was already in this illness point. He would have won hands down. He would have skated through this. Nobody would have been able to touch him. It was his own ineptitude and his inability to even think selfishly. I appreciate your call. Yeah. We're at the end of the show. Thank you so much for calling in, and I look forward to gaming. I'm just saying, thank you, Billy, on the Twitch channel. So everybody subscribe there. Johnny Million, love you. Love your Kiss background.
I took this picture.
Nice. I was at the show too. We'll talk about that another time. All right, we got to go. Thanks, Devin. You're awesome. Glad you were with us today. Appreciate it. We'll see you guys next week. It's the House Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide. Stay tuned for Dick K. Yeah.
All right, Hal and Johnny, I will see you guys around.
Absolutely.
Love you, Devin.
Thanks.
Bye.
Hey, hold on. Are you signing off and running away quickly? Is that what
I am signing off and running away. Actually, and I'm going to go run.
Nice. Well, listen to the tune I sent you and tell me what you think.
Absolutely. Is it going to be released on Spotify?
Yes. And on it takes a few days, but it's going to be on iTunes and all that stuff. So
yay!
Yeah, you had no
I can't
idea.
Wait to hear all the backstory.
Oh, it's good stuff. Yeah, it's just random.
Awesome.
Yeah, I have good feelings about this tune. I think it's got some legs. So yeah.
And you got short hair in the video.
I do, because it took me almost a year to edit it, almost because of all the stuff that was going on. Finally finishing.
Been cooking for a long time. I love it.
Yeah. So, but still muscly, so that was good.
You're so muscly.
It's true. It's getting better. Yeah. Anyways, I adore you. Be well. Be safe. Talk to you later.
Bye, muscles.
Yeah. Bye. So weird. Okay, now I'm gonna hang up Zoom, and suddenly my video feed will get so much smoother. Chat room. It really will. End meeting for all. Yes. Ending meeting for all. There are folks. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you? Good to see you. 9 months to birth a baby. It takes that long. That much. It absolutely does. There we go. All right. I think my headphones are still. Everything's working. I've got to figure out a better way to get Johnny folded into this thing. Yeah. It's crazy. That's okay. I'm gonna see if watch live Trump holds a. That was yesterday. We do that. Yeah, that was Freeland. Okay. There's going to be. Yeah, that was before. Because he's got a scheduled something today, but it's way later. I might jump back on later tonight. Hi, Julie. There you are. Welcome. Hello. So 9 o'clock, which is 6 o'clock my time, Janine Pirro is going to have her interview with the president air. They've got it on his official schedule. And 7:30 my time, he's... is it? Yeah, because he's in my time. Maybe they're using East Coast. because he's doing 7:30 and 10 o'clock tonight. He's doing 2 places in Reno, according to the schedule. This is super weird. I gotta bring up this page. So odd. Where is he? There it is. This is his public calendar for today. So they got the Jeanine Pirro interview right here in the middle, right there. But then he's talking at 7:30 at Reno, at the Reno International Airport, and then he's delivering remarks live from Reno. They don't say where in Reno. They just say Reno, Nevada. There's no location for it. Except for it says the president departs Minden, Nevada en route to Reno, 8:15 p.m. local. This is so disjointed. How's he leaving at 11:15 to get there at 8:15 p.m.? Like 8:15 p.m. local, that's their time, so 11:15 East Coast. So this is all East Coast time, right? So he's going to be up fairly soon. So I'm going to hop off. Twitter flag Trump's tweet about voting twice. I know, I saw that. It's fairly hilarious. Yeah, he's going to the Bunny Ranch, right? So let's see. Maybe Trump will actually show up in Sparks, Nevada. That's where I gotta build a house there, and and have that be. I kind of need to move to Sparks, Nevada, and just own the place. Just be king of Sparks, Nevada. Start my own little gathering. That's where I'll do my Reverend Gene Scott thing from. Live from Sparks, Nevada. It's the Hal Sparks live stream. It's not a bad idea. Or I could just do it from Sparks Street in Burbank, which has a kind of a 1970s Tonight Show kind of vibe to it. That's right. Everyone at the Bunny Ranch is too old for Trump. Yeah, really. When are you back on YouTube? Well, curious you should ask, because let me see if I can do this. If you guys could go over and subscribe, I won't be able to monetize it for a while, but I created a whole new channel from scratch. There's 18 people watching in there right now that I didn't even ask about. Let's see. Go do this. That's me. Oh, my head is disappearing in the light. That's funny. Let me grab a... Where's the chat? There you go. They're all in there. There you go. Let's see. Share. I'm gonna grab that. Copy. There you go. And now, there you go. That's the new YouTube channel for the time being. Until I can't monetize until I get like 1,000 subscribers or whatever. So it doesn't, if you want to have it open and just do the chat, it would help if everybody stayed in Twitch until everybody subscribes. But it does help to subscribe. The new page itself just has my little wise ass icon. And it doesn't, I can't create any art on it. It keeps giving me errors, and I'm not quite sure why. It's, oh, there you go. Now it's working. What do you know? Let's see. And I just need, there we go. No, too small. I'll work on that later. But now it's actually sort of functioning and up. And that's what I'll work on during the break, but we will stream from there. And I will eventually, let's see, there's kind of appeal you could do with YouTube. I'm currently doing that. There's no name on the page. But if you go to howsparks.tv, it will take you there. I'm pretty sure. See if it works. TV. Work, you rat. Did it work? Hey, it works. Okay, so yeah. So howsparks.tv will take you there as a link. And today is going to be kind of slapdash. Normally we do just the morning show and then I go about the rest of my life. But I'll probably jump on about 5 o'clock today. It should be earlier than that. Yeah. Maybe, is 4 o'clock okay for everybody? 4 o'clock. Let's do 4 o'clock Pacific time. I'll hop back on for an hour or so. We'll just play around with some of these gatherings. And if I can get the Janine Pirro interview, then I will while we're online. Thank you. Yeah, if you want to stay, please stay over at Twitch for the time being, at the very least, to keep us rolling over there. But if you want to subscribe, we need to grow that. I can't monetize or do anything useful with that channel until I've got at least 1,000 subscribers, and that's going to be a big push. So yeah. So spread the love, have people share it, all that kind of stuff. I miss YouTube emojis. There they are. Hey, it works. There you go. Yeah, so howsparks.tv. If you could just subscribe there, that will help immensely. Yeah, 6 Central, that's right. And so hopefully we can kind of bring everybody, you know, all together in that regard. And until then, please continue to subscribe on the Twitch channel and all that as we grow that there. Because we cleared 400 today for the first time, which is awesome. You can leave a message on your old YouTube to subscribe to your new one. Yes, that's a good idea. That's right. We're all going to go through it. It's not going to go out. There's so much soot. Oof, I transported between Twitch and YouTube. Weird. It is very weird. Staying here on Twitch, but did subscribe to your new YouTube. Yeah, that would be the best thing right now. Hey, Hal, when are you sending your link to the comedy show? They just sent me the file, so I've got to upload it. It takes a little bit, but I will. I'll have that up and a couple other shows available for the Patreons too. I'm going to post those today. So finally, there you go. Can I post the Twitch shows to YouTube? Yeah, it goes to both places at the same time, Jeff. Eventually, I will get. I'll dual stream is the idea. So. Any update on the Facebook lockout? I'm not. It's a YouTube lockout. On Facebook, I'm still there. I'm still streaming on Facebook. Oh, I didn't put it up today. That's why. It was being weird. It was giving me a weird like spinning circle of death. So I'll just hop on for a short one over here. Yeah, YouTube was being really odd, and I don't know why. It was just giving me. There you go. Look at that. Now it's up. I tried again, reloaded it. I got to go do laundry. Yes, I got to do a bunch of things too. Peace and be wild. Take care of yourselves. I will see you later on today. I'm going to go troll. Yeah, the trolls overrun that as well. When are you on, Stephanie Miller? Probably this week or early the following to promote the Sexy Liberal show. So I've got to send them some footage today for the next one. So I'm doing that as well. A lot of Trumpsters fall in love, hate relationship with the streamers they find. It's true. I know. They're attracted to me, and it's hard for them to deal with it. You know, it's a feeling that they carry with them everywhere they go, and I get it. I get it. It's hard. You can't, you know, can't. In the middle, you're going through the grocery store, you're throwing everything in your cart on the floor and screaming because they ask you to wear a mask, or you're at a rally and you catch a big puff of BO from the person next to you, but it doesn't even bother you because somehow you can't get me out of your head. So, yeah. All right, I will see. You should have Frangela on here. I agree. I will have them on, absolutely. I'm going to have them on the radio show. I should have them on the next weekend to help promote Sexy Liberal, too. That's a great idea, and I will do that. We will arrange for that to happen. But in the meantime, I'm going to bugger off, and I will see you guys later on today for the semi-normal stream, and hopefully I'll see you guys jump back. Please like and subscribe everywhere. Just do it. Just subscribe to all of it. You can pick where you want to watch, but subscribe to everything. It helps immensely. All right. Cheers, and I will see you guys in like 5 hours or something like that. Some ballpark, that area.
gave us Motown. Gave us Motown, gave us the Mustang. Michigan gave us Motown.
Yosemite's wildlife refuges. I mean, you look at this, you look at what we do with our wildlife. Bags of soup.
Sportos, motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, dickheads. They all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
Drop your shorts and bend over, Mr. Babar.
They're not allowed to be offensive, unfortunately.
Drop your shorts and bend over, Mr. Babar.
Yosemite's.
Michigan gave us Motown. Gave us Motown, gave us the Mustang.
And you know, when you say per capita, there's many per capitas. It's like per capita relative to what?
Michigan gave us Motown. Gave us Motown, gave us the Mustang.
If you get it in order, you get extra points. People coming over with bags of soup, big bags of soup. Feel it, do 'em. Feel it, do 'em. Computer board.
You using the whole fist, Doc?
A chat with you and somehow death loses its sting.